Hi friends, my name is Usman and in today's video training we will be looking at Python functions. A function is a block of code which only runs when it is called. You can pass data known as parameters into a function. A function can result data as a result. Now let's look at how to create a function in Python. In Python, a function is defined using the def keyword. Let's start by looking at a simple example of defining a function. Def my function colon print hello from a function. To call a function, enter the function name followed by a parenthesis. And okay, let's run this program, and you can see we have an output from the console saying hello from a function. Now let's look at arguments. Information can be passed into functions as arguments. Arguments are specified after the function name inside the parentheses. You can add as many arguments as you want, just separate them with the comma. Now let's create a function that accepts a parameter, and let's say name, and we use that argument name in our function. Let's say hello space and plus operator and name. Now let's call this function. Let's say we say Tom, my function, and John, and my function, and let's say Tim. Okay, let's run the program, and you can see we have hello Tom, hello John, and hello Tim on the console because we have called this function 3 times with different arguments. Parameters or arguments. The terms parameter and argument can be used for the same thing, information that are passed into a function. Now let's look at the concept of number of arguments. By default, a function must be called with the correct number of arguments, meaning that if your function expects 2 arguments, you have to call the function with 2 arguments, not more and not less. Now let's create a function with the 2 arguments. Let's call the first argument first name and the second argument as second name. And now I'm going to use hello plus first name and space and plus operator and second name. Now let's call this function my function, and let's say John Doe, and let's run this program. You can see we have an output on the console that says hello John Doe. So if I try to pass only one argument, the program will give us an error. My function missing one required positional argument second name. And what if I try to pass 3 parameters into the function? John Doe, let's say Ali, and let's run the program. Now you can see the program says my function takes 2 positional arguments but 3 were given. So if the function accepts 2 arguments, we have to give 2 arguments, not less, not more. Now let's look at an interesting concept called arbitrary arguments. If you do not know how many arguments that will be passed into your function, add a asterisk before the parameter name in the function definition. This way, the function will receive a tuple of arguments and can access the items accordingly. Now let's use arbitrary functions in action. Okay, let's say people static and hello people, let's say 2. Now if I call this function my function and I pass in 3 people name, Ellie, John, and let's say Tim. Okay, now let's run the program. 10. Okay, sorry, my mistake. Static should be before the variable name. Now if we run the program, you can see we have hello Tim, because Tim is the third element in the argument list, 0, 1 and 2. If I say 0, then we will have hello Ellie on the console. So that's about arbitrary arguments. The next topic is keyword arguments. You can also send arguments with the key value syntax. This way the order of the arguments does not matter. Let's see keyword arguments in action. Let's create a function and let's say we have employee 1, employee 2 and employee 3. And we say the second employee is employee 2, and let's call this function my function, and I say employee 3 equals Tim, employee 2 equals John, and employee 1 equals Kim. Okay, let's run the program. You see we have an output on the console that says the second employee is John. Okay, let's run the program again. Okay, so basically what happens here is we are passing the arguments with a key value notification, and even if I'm passing employee 1 as the third argument and the function is receiving employee 1 as the first argument, because of the key pair notation, the function automatically recognizes that employee 1 is Kim, even if it is passed as the third argument. There's another interesting concept, that is arbitrary keyword arguments. If you do not know how many keyword arguments that will be passed into your function, add to asterisk before the parameter name in the function definition. This way the function will receive a dictionary of arguments and can access the items accordingly. Now let's see arbitrary keyword arguments in action. Let's say static employee and employee, and I call the function and I say first name equals Tim and second name equals John, and within the function I say employee and I say second underscore name, and I run the program, and you can see we have got an output on the console that says the second employee is John. And what if I change this to first name? Now Tim should be printed out on the console, so run the program you can see we have got Tim as the first employee on the console. You can also use default parameter value. The following example we are going to look at will show you how to use a default parameter value. If we call the function without argument, it uses the default value. Okay, let's look at an example. Def my function, and I say name equals John, and print my name is and name. Okay, my function, and let's pass Tim. My function spark Bob. My function, let's pass you can say Erin, and my function, let's just don't pass anything for this in this case. Let's see what happens here. So when we ran the program, the first 3 lines of output have concatenated the values that we passed as an argument to the function, but in the 4th one we didn't pass anything as an argument, and the function picked up the default value, which is John, and John was printed on the console. Passing a list as an argument is also possible. You can send any data types of argument to a function, string, number, list, dictionary, and it will be treated as the same data type inside the function. For example, if you send a list as an argument, it will still be a list when it reaches the function. Let's look at this in action. And okay, first we receive the list as an argument, fruits. Okay, and we say for x in fruits colon, and we print x. Now let's define a list. Fruits equals apple, banana, and mango. Now let's just pass this list to our function fruits. Let's run the program. You see we have apple, banana, and mango. We pass the list object to the function, and within the function we have a for loop that iterated through each value of the fruits list and printed this on the console. Functions can also return values. To let a function return a value, use the return statement. Okay, let's see this in action. Def my function, and let's receive an argument x and return 10 steric, that is multiply x and colon. Okay, now let's call our function. My function say 2, my function 20, my function 30. Okay, let's run the program. Okay, because we didn't printed out the output, so we need to add a print function before calling our my function. Okay, that should be it. Okay, now you can see we have 20, 200, and 300 on the console. So basically our function is multiplying the argument received with number 10. So in case of 2 we got 20, and then we had 200, and then we have 30 multiplied by 10, 300. Function definitions cannot be empty, but if you for some reason have function definition with no content, put in the pass statement to avoid getting an error. So what we need to do is just simply write pass keyword in the function definition, and when we call this function, nothing will be outputted console. Sorry, I forgot to clean up the argument, the function that was x. Now run the program. You see we have got none. So basically my function does nothing in this case using the pass keyword. Let's look at a very important topic that is called recursion. Python also accepts function recursion, which means a defined function can call itself. Recursion is a common mathematical and programming concept. It means that a function calls itself. This has the benefit of meaning that you can loop through data to reach a result. The developer should be very careful with recursion, as it can be quite easy to slip into writing a function which never terminates, or one that uses excess amounts of memory or processor power. However, when written correctly, recursion can be a very efficient and mathematically elegant approach to programming. Okay, let's see recursion in action. Let's clean up this and let's define a function. Let's say t recursion and accept an argument, let's say as I, and let's start our function. So okay, first thing, let's say if I is greater than 0, then result equals I plus t recursion I minus 1 and return print result. Okay, else part result equals 0, print result. Okay, and return I is equal to print result. Okay, and let's say we run the program t recursion, and let's say we pass in the value 10 f10. Okay, t recursion is now traced back. Oh, sorry, my bad. This there is some issue with the function syntax. We need a final part and needs to be placed here. So return result. Okay, this should do the trick. Let's run the program. Okay, now you can see we have printed out 1, 3, 6, 10 and up till 55. So basically the concept of recursion is calling the same function from its definition. So we are calling t recursion from within the t recursion function, and it keeps up going until we have the result equal to 0. Okay, let's run it by 6. So you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values. So this is the basic concept of recursion in Python functions. Okay, that's it for this video training on functions in Python. See you next time with a new topic in Python. Till then, bye bye.